This is Rob Boyd
and Jimmy Rayperson
with Cisco's TechWise TV. We're here today to talk about a problem that occurs over and over again every time there's a natural disaster or any time a community needs to respond to a natural disaster or something that involves communication among disparate groups. And the problem that recurs all the time is the fact that these radios are all proprietary. They stem from old protocols and things that people have made significant investments in, but they're different for police, for fire. And the bottom line is that these groups need to communicate in times of disaster, and they need to communicate one-to-one without worrying about whether or not they can actually get it done. And so what we're here today to talk about is we're joined by Lindsay Ebert, who's going to talk about how we can make these things valuable with technology that we've already invested in. Lindsay?
Thank you, Rob. So this is the IP Interoperability and Collaboration System. It is a next-generation communications technology that allows UHF radios, VHF radios, conventional and trunked radios, all to collaborate and communicate with each other instantly over an IP network.
How does that work?
So basically how it works is we've got various radios. We've got a UHF radio and a VHF radio. We've got Nextel. A Nextel push-to-talk radio here, which is another type of device for the radio system. We've also have IP phones and desktops, and we've got a wireless Wi-Fi phone that works on the wireless LAN network.
So these are examples of all the various communication technologies, each with their own ways of working together. They work fine among their own groups.
Individually.
But we need to expand that communication.
We need to expand it. So what we have is the system set up here showing a desktop client, one also here on the laptop, and an IP phone. This IP phone is actually tuned to the VHF radio. We could go back here and actually look at a particular login. So for example, I would log in to use my authentication and user ID code, log in with my user ID.
Hey, that's my password.
Press password.
Great
and then we could actually log into any one of these radios. So this radio, for example, is the VHF radio, and we would press that radio, and immediately we begin talking on this particular radio from an IP phone. This IP phone could live anywhere in the world. We can also do a push-to-talk communication directly to the network, and all my VHF radios hear this communication. It's extended to all the IP phones and desktops.
Oh, that is incredible.
What is unique about this solution is that these radio networks can be accessed from any location, meaning that you could be outside the radio footprint, which is typically limited geography, limited reach. And what we're talking about here is using network of networks, using multiple networks, the commercial communication network, the broadband network, the EVDO network, the public safety network, the wireless network, satellite networks, anything that could be transported with IP, and linking together these radio systems that are today separate and diverse, and allowing people to easily share, get reachability to people independent of the devices that they're using.
That's pretty cool. You're using IP as your carrier wave.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
We're using IP as the carrier wave. So it's really a 1 + 1 = 3 solution for these first responders, giving them 10 times the bang for the buck on putting together these systems, allowing them to collaborate.
Cool.
So the communication actually works two ways. It not only works from the radio push-to-talk device to the desktop and the IP phone, but also the other direction from my laptop network. I can also reach out and talk to these different devices. I can also select multiple types of networks. Let's say I want to do a broadcast and I have an emergency event occurring in Hall D. Here we are at Networkers, and I have an emergency, let's say a fire event, that I need to communicate to my security personnel here, the logistics people up at the front. I need to communicate with the field engineering. Maybe I need to reach out to even telephony users, but I can use this. I can actually send a particular siren.
Oh, wow.
A siren alert or an alarm tone alerting the first responders that something's happened. Attention, do this, special alert tones. I can do a broadcast transmission from my laptop. I can also bring in subject matter experts, like if I have a hazmat or chemical expert, I can reach out to them individually.
Oh, that's a great
I can
point.
also reach people on their cell phones or their PSTN, their telephone devices. So maybe someone's outside of radio reach. Maybe I need to reach the governor or the mayor, or maybe I need to get the Secret Service involved, immediately bring them in and get them talking directly to my radio channel. I can immediately do a page alert or SMS notification, getting them to respond, dial into an IVR, bring them into the direct talk communication channel.
How much of that do you have to work into your preparedness and planning stages of things ahead of time to say, well, we might need to bring in the Secret Service here, so let's make sure we've already built them into the system? Is it required to do that, or can it be done in more of an ad hoc manner?
Yeah, what you're talking about is a great question. That's basically called a standard operating procedure for a response. And
Okay.
most first responder agencies, as well as safety and security, have those. The issue is that they typically are lost in binders or books, which is very difficult to access. What we've actually done is put that information in software to make it much more accessible. So, for example, here I have, for example, a template, and this template says fire in Hall D for Hall D at Networkers, for example, and this says, well, what I want to do is I basically want to talk with all my UHF, which might be the security people here at Networkers. I want to talk to my Sprint Nextel, which are the people on the floor doing the logistics. Mm-hmm. I might talk to the UHF radios, as well as I'm bringing in these desktop users who might be the managers at Networkers or the managers in the safety and security personnel, and I drag them in and drop them in. When I activate this particular channel on the network, it will activate the channel and it will push this channel to me. It will alert and it actually tie all these radio systems together so they're all talking on one network. And you see that particular event now that was just pushed to me over the network, and it was also pushed to this desktop device. And now when I do a push to talk, it will actually go broadcast across all these devices. Test 1, 2. You can see that all these channels are now linked.
Yeah.
We're demonstrating feedback here,
yeah.
But you're actually bringing together all those channels and all those particular communication devices together and immediately talking to all of them. So it's really much beyond radio.
I like this. You don't need to over-purchase or rent radios on a temporary basis for events or things like that, because you can say, well, bring in your own systems. We're going to tie it into our foundational IP-based backbone
or cell
here.
phones. We just program your cell phones in, and immediately, exactly, you bring in these less expensive, maybe the FRS family service radios, or
that's huge.
Less expensive, and you don't really need to bring in the $5,000 or the $1,000 radios, and you don't have to have the special radios that you may not have because they're all programmed as special frequencies.
Wow. That is very cool.
So
that is very cool.
And it works off the Cisco network, and it works. This is a service that lives in the network. It is really uses our self-defending network, our unified communication suite. It uses our mobility strategy. It uses our wireless mesh. It uses all of our public safety solutions that are very powerful, that are amplified by the fact that now we're just using the intelligence in the network to cause this interoperability to occur. So let me do this once again, let's say we have a policy, and this is basically, we'll call it the network's demonstration. And this, if we actually look at this demonstration, it's a policy that basically has a couple of actions. It says activate a talk group, basically a conference of all the people that need to be brought together during the same demonstration that we just looked at. So the event happens, the security person is overwhelmed. He doesn't have very much time to think, but he knows that he needs to do something in the event that this standard operating procedure, this particular type of event happens. He knows he needs to collaborate and get people on the action, get them all involved in a first response situation. So what we can do, and it basically says activate the VTG in the conference, the ones that we kind of just saw, and then also call out some people that may not be within the radio range. You may be wearing your cell phone. You're right here on the scene, but you need to get on this call right away. So what we'll do is we'll activate this VTG. And the VTG, we'll just show you once again, I guess I should have gone back to this particular thing. This should actually activate this particular incident again on the screen. It did. It came up over here. The phones start ringing over here.
Analog phones.
Analog phones. We begin to pick them up. This is the governor's office, and this is Grace Hugh Morley's office, and you can answer this, Rob.
Where's my laundry?
Yeah.
All right. Ooh, let me try the wire radio.
And basically, the system should begin speaking to you, and it should say, enter your password, enter your authenticate, and once you press the keys in and authenticate, you're actually in on this channel talking to it live from your cell phone. And you can press from any cell phone or any device. You press 1 to talk and 2 to stop talking from any communication device over the radio.
Lindsay, this is fantastic information. I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
This is really good stuff, man.
5 minutes till TechWise TV starts.
There you go. So we had a lot of uses for this stuff.
Yeah, this is pretty happening.
I think the point that makes the most sense for me is the fact that you don't have to eliminate large investments that you made in the past just to try and solve new problems that now occur in the age that we live in. You can leverage those investments, you can make those work using the backbone of IP and just converge outward, right?
Well, you know, radios, they're not like network equipment or PCs. These are in organizations for years and years and years and years and years.
Oh, yeah. And
they
these things are tough.
Replaced.
You can't hurt these things either.
No,
you don't
are
want
you
to
kidding
get rid
me?
of them.
No, they're great stuff. And I love using IP as a carrier. That's an excellent idea.
This is fantastic.
Great idea.
Absolutely.
Well, this is Rob Boyd
and Jameer A. Purser
with Cisco's TechWise TV.